Okay, so here we are, starting part 2 of Newbie Introduction to Espresso. In the previous video, we talked about how to appreciate different kinds of espresso serves: a latte, macchiato, and espresso. In this video, we're going to focus purely on the mechanics. And then in the subsequent video, we'll talk more about how to diagnose taste flaws, stuff like that. So the technique that I'm suggesting here is going to be a lot more, rigid than you might expect. Normally, people who have more experience might not go through all these steps. But the idea is to reduce this to rote instruction. So we're going to use, for example, the basket outside of the portafilter and weigh it on a scale. That way we assure that we have consistency every time. Plus the other advantage is because we have the portafilter locked in all the time, we don't have to worry about temperature, stabilization problems because you take too long to dose and whatnot. I've already went ahead and dialed in this grinder. In the next video, we'll talk about how you can dial in grinders and such. But for now, we're going to focus again just on the mechanics. Okay. So let's go ahead and start. And you see here, add a basket to the scale. Go ahead and tear it at 0. We're going to dose the same time we did last time, about 16.5, 17 grams. And when you run the grinder, because this is going to make a lot of noise, you're not going to be able to hear instructions. So when you run the grinder, the key is to let the coffee evenly fall along the bottom of the basket, because you want it to be a nice, even better distribution. If you correct after the fact, you can do that. The problem is that, especially people who don't have a lot of experience, they tend to compress the coffee here and there, and it can result in uneven bed where it's denser in one spot than the other, and that can lead to channeling. Mm-hmm. So subsequently, the idea of pay attention to the landing is kind of the saying that we have. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. You see how I was rotating it all the way, and you can see it ends up fairly evenly distributed. I think I'm going to require a little bit more. Oh, I was wrong. Okay, we're going to strike off a little, just for a sec. Do that. Okay, a little on the high side. I'll just strike off just a little bit more. Don't have my knock box, so we're going to do it right on that. There we go. Okay, that's a little bit closer. The next, after you've dosed, the next step is tamp. And a lot of online people obsess about tamping. Mm-hmm. Now, the idea is don't screw up the distribution. It's, whether you tamp hard, whether you tamp light, it doesn't really matter. You just have to be consistent. Okay. And also important is not to have the tamp canted. Mm-hmm. So don't obsess over it. It's really a pretty simple operation. I'll give you some tips that make it a little bit easier to be consistent. But really, the tamp, as far as things you can do right or wrong, are pretty low on the trouble scale.
You just want to make sure it's even.
Correct. Yep. Right. And here's some tricks you can do to help you do that. Is that a lot of times people say you want to have kind of like a nice little L. And when you're not to grab the tamper, I always encourage people to grab it like you're grabbing a doorknob. Okay. It should feel really natural. And the idea is it should be a nice straight extension. Some people they'll tamp like this. Yeah. Problem with that is it's really easy to jockey. So don't make that mistake. So grab it just like you're grabbing the handle of a doorknob, and then bend out like this. And one thing you can also do is that pay attention. If you see how I have my fingers here, what I can do is I can kind of guide me in, and you can feel whether it's off kilter. Yeah. And so go in like that, and then before you actually do the final press, you can see it right there. Visually, it looks straight. Yep. If you want to, you could even do this. You spin it around.
Yeah,
you see it.
The other hand.
Right. Yep. And then press down. How hard you press doesn't really matter. Okay. 30 pounds is what I usually do. But the idea is, and you can see I can spin this. In fact, I'll put your finger right there to see what I'm talking about. See how it's right, you can feel maybe a little bit of a rise. Yep. The idea is rely on your feel. Don't rely on visuals. Okay. Okay, so there it is. Go ahead and finish with that. Can you grab me a cup, please? It's right behind you. Yep. Okay. So there we go. Now this one poured, a little bit faster than I might have liked, but that's fine. Right now we're just going to focus on the mechanics. in the next video, and in fact this is kind of an example of what I'm going to do in the next video, is we're going to intentionally make mistakes.
Okay.
And this is an example of one that I think that poured about 15, 17 seconds, something like that.
Okay.
It's a little bit too fast. And that produces a specific taste defect. We're not going to cover that in this video. Look forward to the next one. But the idea is that in this one, we're going to look at the mechanics that you want to focus on. And the next one, we're going to talk about seeing how the mechanics affect taste.
Okay.
So, there you go. No need to comment on it right now. We're just going to, put that down for next time. There we go. So now we're going to switch roles.
Okay.
You're going to drive and make your own espresso.
All right.
So. Okay, so here we are. Philip's going to take the wheel and make his first espresso. So go ahead.
All right. So zero out this. Okay.
That's good. Okay.
And then the grinder should be dialed in.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I'm going to hit the button and I'm going to spin it and make sure it's evenly distributed in here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Start button.
Here goes.
There
goes nothing.
That's about 12 grams. You got a little bit more to go. So go ahead and stop out there.
Okay.
Go ahead and put it down on the scale, see how much you got.
19.8.
Ah, what do I know? I mean, see, that's an interesting point, is that, Nico, I'm doing a video. Get out.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, that's an interesting point because different grinders produce coffee grounds of different density.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we use this grinder, you notice when I went to fill up the portafilter,
Yeah.
it may have been a little fluffier.
Yeah.
You see?
Yep.
So what we're seeing here is this produces a little denser. So go ahead and put that down on the scale. We said 19.8?
19.8.
Okay, right. So now go ahead and just
Straight
strike
across.
off
Okay.
a little bit there. Straight across. Like you were making a cake or something like that.
I make a lot of cakes.
Yeah, I bet.
18.2.
Well, we're going to go ahead and go forward with that. It's a little
Okay.
bit more than we want, but that's okay if we want to move it along.
Okay.
So go ahead. Now we're going to move on to the tamp.
Okay.
Now remember, straighten the elbow there. A finger down there to check your progression in. Looking good. Okay, great. Okay, now give the basket a spin to see what, yeah, that looks great. Perfect.
All right.
Okay, there you go. And now go ahead and lock in and,
So this in here.
yes sir. And you gotta line up the ears. Like that. And miss the back one. There you go. There you go. All right. Sometimes you gotta pull it and kind of brace the machine. There you go.
Okay.
Okay, and then we hit the brew switch. That's this one.
All right.
Flick that to the right. Now you can see that this one's pouring a little bit slower, right? Because you had a little bit more coffee. We also tweaked the grind just a teeny bit finer.
Okay.
Actually, that looks spot on there. It looks really good.
All right.
Not bad for a first try. Not bad at all. And so we're going to follow the color.
Okay.
And you see that right now we're looking at it, and you see as it approaches a little more blonde.
Yep.
Go ahead and cut that off.
Okay. So you're following the color more than you're following the amount that's being poured in the cup.
Right, because
Okay.
what happens is that the volume does affect the way the taste profile changes.
Okay.
But when a coffee expends all of its solubles, it changes color.
Sure,
It changes
like
color,
yep.
and so it's a really good sign. Give it a taste. Now remember, this is different than what we had in the other round.
Yeah.
This one is a free. You mind if I try it?
I think that's the best espresso I've ever had.
Yeah, a little biased, I bet. Well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good indeed. So there we go. Philip has successfully done his first espresso session.
Yeah.
Look forward to in a few weeks. We're going to come back and talk about how to do diagnostics of taste defects and how to recognize common mechanical errors. It'll be great fun in just a few weeks.
Awesome. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. That wasn't too bad.
That's fun.